All right. Welcome everybody to today's webinar on California benefits for veterans, hosted by West Hills College, Lemoore. Today is January 24th, 2022. All right, so now before we get started, just some quick housekeeping. I do want to let you know that the chat for this webinar is disabled. And that's only because we're going to be flooding the chat with resources for you guys to download or to click on throughout the webinar. And we don't want to get your questions mixed up in those resources. So with that being said, we are enabling the questions and answers panel. And so if you do have questions for any of the presenters, feel free to put your questions right there in that questions and answers feature, and we could either answer them on the spot or hold them until the end of the webinar when we do our questions and answers portion. On top of that, you were also sent an email either yesterday or today with details about the webinar, including the Zoom link. On top of that, there was a link for a PDF copy of the resource book, which I'll talk to you about in a quick second, and also a link to a PDF copy of the link map, which we have Annette Walliver here, who will tell you a little bit more about the link map and how the links operate throughout California. We'll also have a representative here from Kings County Veteran Service Office, who will talk to you a little bit about what they do to help out veterans, and then we'll start off with our questions and answers portion at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. This is just a screenshot of what that questions and answers feature looks like here on Zoom. So if you look at your toolbar, you'll see the Q&A icon. If you click on that, you can type your questions in right there, and the presenters can either answer them on the spot or hold them there until the end of the webinar. All right, so my name is Michael Cisneros. I am a training coordinator with the California Department of Veteran Affairs, specifically with their CalTap program. I'm also a veteran. I actually separated from the military back in 2007. Went back to school right after that, was a student veteran for a long time, got my degrees, and now I'm here. And so working with the veteran population is something that I consider an honor, especially because when I was in school, I did a lot of my research on the veteran community, specifically student veterans. So working with the schools, student veterans in particular, is something that I'm pretty familiar with. And so I'm happy to be here today to talk to you about some of the benefits that are offered through Calvet and also through the federal VA. So what is CalTap? Well, it's a transition assistance program that is designed to inform and connect veterans of all eras to their earned state and federal benefits, as well as provide continuous support and assistance as their needs change over time. And so what we've done in CalTap is we've developed different pathways that help our veterans navigate those benefits that are available to them. Those pathways are an entrepreneurship pathway, an employment pathway, we have an education pathway, and then there's a core curriculum pathway of benefits that don't fit into those topics that I just mentioned. There's a fifth pathway, a service provider pathway. We don't really talk about the service provider pathway too much, but it is there. If you do have anybody within your community or a family member that does want to work with veterans, feel free to send them to our website to check out some of the information on the service provider pathway. It just basically talks about the military culture, how to work with veterans, how to understand the veteran experience, and topics like that. So just kind of get you more familiar with the population. This is what that veterans resource book looks like. So like I mentioned earlier, you did get a link to a PDF copy of this book. Click on it, download it to your phone, download it to your laptop or your desktop, and use it. I like to say this book is like gold for veterans. Everything that we discussed today when it comes to California benefits or California veteran benefits can be found in this book. It breaks down the benefit for you, tells you about eligibility requirements, and also lets you know where to get these processes started. If this was an in-person event, you guys would each have a hard copy sitting in front of you right now. But because we are doing this virtually, we're just giving you guys a link to download it yourself. On top of having a link in that email, we're also going to post a link in the chat so that you can click on it, download it here in this meeting. You can find information about the Caltap program on our website. So if you go to calvet.ca.gov, right there in the middle of the screen, you'll find that Caltap banner. You can click on that, and that's going to take you to our pathways page, which looks like this. As you can see, you have the education, employment, and entrepreneurship pathway, along with that core curriculum and service provider pathway. Before I move on, I do want to bring your attention to that archives link down there at the bottom. Since we've gone into lockdown and the start of the pandemic, we started putting on webinars for veterans across California. On top, or with that, we've been recording them and putting them onto our website along with the PDFs of the PowerPoints. So if you're looking for more resources or you want to know a little bit more about some of the topics that we've covered in the past, feel free to head to our website at calvet.ca.gov. Check out the archives page. I believe we'll post a link to that page in the chat as well, so you don't have to go search for it. But check it out. Check out some of the old videos we've completed. We talk about everything from mental health, online distance learning for those of you that, for the students, student veterans. We talk about financial literacy, how to file claims and compensation and get compensated for your disability ratings. On top of that, we're also talking about our pathways like education pathway and benefits, employment, our employment pathway and California landscape. And then also for those of you that want to start your own business, we talk about entrepreneurship opportunities. So how do you use Caltap online? Well, when you do land on our pathways page, you can click on any one of those pathways. And for this example, we'll go ahead and start with the core curriculum pathway. You click on that, you're taken to a modules page. The modules kind of breaks down the information into easily digestible blocks. For the core curriculum pathway, you see information about the VA healthcare system, claims and compensation. There's one down there about financial literacy. If you're just kind of curious about what's available to you through California, you could always click on module number 5, California benefits, and it will break that down into more detail. So let's talk about those benefits. What are your California benefits? Well, the first one that we want to bring attention to, and that we do have a representative here to talk a little bit more about, is our outreach. We have a local interagency network coordinator, or also called a link, who are in different parts of California and help out veterans find outside resources that aren't part of the state or the federal government. So they're familiar with the region that they're assigned to. They know about the agencies or departments or organizations that are outside of the state and the outside of government that can help veterans out in need. So we have Annette here who's going to talk a little bit more about that. So I'll leave that up to her. I don't want to step on her toes too much with her presentation, but it's a great resource and it's there. With the tuition and fee waiver for those veterans who have dependents, we do. This is a Calvet benefit that's given to our California veterans from the state of California. It's a fee waiver that's for child dependents. Now, the reason why we have a fee waiver for child dependents and not the veteran in particular is because we want the veteran to use their education benefits themselves. So the GI Bill that comes with the 36 months of education benefits, we would want you to take advantage of that benefit instead of having to decide whether or not you're going to transfer your education benefits to your dependents. This benefit is here. It waives it waives tuition and fees at any state-funded school. So any UC, CSU, or California Community College, and this saves the veteran over $35 million a year because you're not worrying about paying tuition and fee for your dependents anymore. Break it down a little bit more. There's 4 different plans. We see that more veterans fall into Plan B, and this is because Plan B requires a disability rating from the veteran between 0 and 100. And because it is a pretty broad spectrum, we see a lot of veterans fall into this plan. On top of that disability rating, they're also going to be looking at the child's adjusted gross income. If you have a spouse that you want to also have take advantage of this plan, you can see if you're eligible for plan A, C, or D. These ones do have different requirements. For plan A, the veteran would either have to have 100% disability or killed in action. The child, there's a stipulation about the child being under 27 years old. That could be extended though in certain situations. Plan C is for those individuals who've had a parent either captured or killed in the line of service that are part of the California National Guard. And then there's also the Medal of Honor recipients for Plan D, children of the Medal of Honor recipients for Plan D. So depending on which plan you fall into, does have its benefits. With Plan B, there's no age limit for the child, but they are looking at the income level. With Plan A, there's no income level that they're looking at, but they are looking at the age of the child. So, depending on which one you fall into, you can decide how far you go with your education and how much the state's going to pay for. We also have, we've also partnered with the DMV to make it easier for veterans to identify, or for individuals to identify themselves as a veteran. So now you can actually get the word veteran printed on your driver's license. This is just so that you don't have to walk around carrying sensitive information in your back pocket, like the information that we found on your DD Form 214. There's also the Honoring Veterans License Plate Program. This is a program that's actually open to all residents of California. You do not have to be a veteran specifically. This is just a way for people to show their support for the military or the veteran community. And all proceeds for this program actually go towards veteran services here in California. And then there's a motor vehicle registration fee waiver. This is for individuals who are 100% disabled. Your disability does have to affect your mobility. If that's the case, then there's a fee waiver out there for you guys. This is just, next slide is just an example of what some of those programs are. So as you can see with the picture of the ID, you literally get the word veteran printed on your driver's license. And this is just as good as carrying around, an expired ID or a veteran health card. This is actually, this actually gets you those perks that are offered around town when Veterans Day comes along, or if you just have to prove your veteran status. The picture on the left is the Honoring Veterans License Plate Program. As you can see, there's a picture of, I believe that's the Vietnam War era medal. So basically you just get a picture on your license plate of either a ribbon or an insignia or a branch logo. And it's just to celebrate and honor the veterans here in our community. All right, for those of you that like to be outdoors, there's a fishing and hunting license that's offered at a reduced annual cost. And there's also a state park pass that's offered at no cost. Both of these do require 50% disability rating and an honorable discharge. And I believe with the state park pass, you do have to, you would have had to been serving within a wartime period. So those benefits are out there. With the fishing and hunting license, you'll want to go to wildlife.ca.gov. And this is just an example of what that reduced cost looks like. On average, residents pay $54 for a license. Non-residents pay $145. For a veteran with a disability rating of 50% or more and an honorable discharge, you only have to pay $824. $824 at the CDF offices and $864 from licensed agents. So a slight difference in the fees. And then this is the website for the state park pass. You'll go to parks.ca.gov. Just an example of what those passes look like. Old passes are no longer valid. So if you do have an old pass, you just want to upgrade as soon as possible. Excuse me. Tax programs. So we do have tax programs for California veterans. We don't really talk about these too much, only because they differ across California, or rules and regulations differ across California. So we do recommend you reach out to your local county tax assessor if you are interested in business exemption, business license tax and fee exemptions, or if you are a veteran who wants to, a disabled veteran who wants to open up your own business, definitely reach out. You could find a list of county assessors, auditors, and audit controllers at the Board of Equalization website, boe.ca.gov. Under the property tax link, you can find that information there. And then also for those individuals who are interested in opening up their own business with who do have a disability rating, if you want to know a little bit more about the DVBE certification, which is a Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise certification, this is you can find more information about the program on our website. Basically, it's a certification that allows you to sell to the California government at a more competitive level than the average person. So if you do have goods or resources that you're thinking you want to sell to the state of California, then you may want to consider a DVBE certification. More information about that, like I say, can be found on our website, or if you have any questions in particular, you could always email the DVBE email address right there at dvbe.calvet.ca.gov. We have Daniel Bates and Sri Nuez, who are part of our Veteran Service Division, who can answer those questions and get you more information if needed. All right, Homes for Long-Term, or I'm sorry, Calvet Home Loans. This is a program that's actually different than the federal VA Home Loans program. Our Calvet Home Loans program provides financing for veterans, competitive market interest rates, and requires low or no down payments. So what's the difference between a Calvet home loan and a VA home loan? Well, the VA federal home loan is can be used to purchase a home anywhere in the US versus the Calvet home loan. Your home is going to be here in California. The VA home loan it's actually a loan guarantee, not an actual loan, versus a Calvet is a state benefit. And it's funded through the sale of tax-exempt bonds at no cost to the taxpayers of the state of California. So who's eligible? So all veterans who served active duty a minimum of 90 days, whether during wartime or peacetime. There's requires service under honorable conditions and no prior residency rules. So you can actually either join from a different state and come here to California and take advantage of this benefit, or you could be separated in a different state and move to California and you can still take advantage of this benefit. If you want to apply, you can go to the Calvet Home Loans webpage at calvet.ca.gov. There's also a calculator that you can use that can help you out with planning for this process. And I just put this in just to kind of show you the limits, the minimum and maximum limits of the home loans that you could get through Calvet. As you can see, places in the Los Angeles region, Southern California, are going to be a little bit more expensive, and so the maximum is pretty high. You got over $1 million for the maximum, and the minimum, you know, like the places up north in Northern California, about $685,312. I'm sorry. But as you can see, they differ across California. But I just wanted to give you an example of what the maximum and minimum limits are for those home loans if you are looking to get into a Calvet home loan. All right, Homes for our women veterans here in California. We have a program that provides information, advocacy, outreach, and support. This program also partners with our Women Veterans Leadership Council and just works on giving our women veterans more opportunities and outreach opportunities and information to continue being competitive here in California. You can find more information about their program at the Women Veterans webpage at calvet.ca.gov. They have a roster that you can sign up on. If you are kind of curious about the program or want to know more about the outreach opportunities coming up, feel free to put your name down, give your email address, and they will get back to you about that information. For our minority veterans, we have a program that offers the same. They provide information, advocacy, outreach, and support. They also help our unnaturalized veterans with citizenship and naturalization services. And so you can find more information about that program at the Minority and Underrepresented Veterans webpage. And they too have a roster that you can sign up on just to kind of keep up to date with what's going on with the division. I'm sorry, with the division and some of the outreach opportunities that are coming up. All right, now homes for long-term care. This is one I've been trying to say for the while now. We have 8 different homes that provide long-term care for veterans. It offers medical, dental, pharmacy, rehabilitation, and social activities. These homes are everywhere from Reading up north to Chula Vista down south, and they all offer different levels of care. And so, depending on where you want or what kind of care you're looking for is going to dictate where you stay or where you would look at staying. So whether you're looking for independent living, assisted living, intermediate nursing care, skilled nursing care, or memory care, that's going to let you know, this will let you know which houses you need to look into going to get that kind of care. And finally, we have state cemeteries. These are different than the federal VA cemeteries. Our state cemeteries are located in Seaside, California, which is right outside of Monterey. There's one in Redding, California, and then there's a Yountville Veterans Home Cemetery, which is right outside of Napa. With that last one, you do have to be a resident at the Yountville Veterans Home to be buried there. So if that's not your situation, then you do have the other 2 to consider. There is a 4th cemetery in the works. I believe it's going to be in Orange County. I'm not sure how far along they are with that process, but just be aware that they are looking to put one more here in California, down south. You can find more information about that, about cemeteries and burials on our webpage. There's also a pre-need burial eligibility link that you click on to get the process started beforehand, so that you're not caught off guard with the information and process that goes into getting this set up. All right, now before I pass it on, I'm going to bring your attention to some common websites that we think you should be familiar with, not just as a California veteran, but just as a veteran in general. VA.gov is a good one. I like to think of VA.gov as like a hub for veterans. So if you're looking for information about the VA healthcare system, you're looking to file disability or look into compensation, you want to check out your records or take advantage of education benefits, you can always go to this website, click on any one of these links, and they will take you to your destination to get those processes started. Another one is Ebenefits. I believe they're going to phase out Ebenefits soon, but we want to bring your attention to it just because this is one of the websites that you would go to if you are taking advantage of benefits, or if you want to apply for benefits. You can come to this webpage and get those processes started. A little example about this webpage: when I was in school and taking advantage of my education benefits, I would come onto this website. I would log on to see whether or not they certified my classes, whether or not they cut the check for my BAH every month, and if they sent that out. And so this is a website where you would get that kind of information. And then finally, there's My Healthy Vet. I like this. This is a cool website if you are taking advantage of the VA healthcare system. On this website, you can view your health records, communicate with your primary care physician, and refill prescriptions. All right. So if you want to stay in touch with our program and be aware of some of the outreach opportunities that are coming up or the webinars that we're going to put on, feel free to send your non-DoD email to caltap@calvet.ca.gov. This will put you on a mailing list, which I'll talk about in a quick second. And if you don't want to do that, there's always the post-webinar survey. The webinar survey is not required, but we do hope that you could take the time to let us know, what we did well today, what we could work on next time. We'll post a link in the chat for this survey, and there's also going to be a QR code at the end of the webinar that you can scan and get that process started on your phone. Again, it's not mandatory, but if you want to take the time to do it, feel free. You can always register at My Calvet on our homepage, add us on Facebook, and also attend our webinars. This is that link or this is where you'll log in or register for My Calvet. Signing up for My Calvet just kind of curates the website for you and helps you get information that is related to what you want to know about. It just kind of makes it easier to navigate. This is our monthly newsletter that we've started sending out over the summer. Every month we are highlighting a different topic. So for the month of January, we're looking at employment. Next month, we'll be looking at education. Our newsletter features those webinars, and it also lets you know about some of the outside agencies that we're working with throughout the month. Lets you know about some of the news that's coming through from the VA or veteran-specific news that we think you should know about. Just an interactive way for us to reach our veterans and let them know what's going on with the division. All right. So that was a quick overview of the Caltap program and some of the benefits that are available to you. Like I said, you could find this information in your resource book or on our website. You can also email me directly. That's my email address. I check it daily, or to give that 1-800 number a call. Either way, you'll get somebody who's going to respond and get you the answers that you're looking for. So feel free to reach out anytime. So I'm going to go ahead now and pass it on to Annette. She is the Central Valley Local Interagency Network Coordinator, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how she works with veterans in her region. So Annette, when you're ready, go ahead.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm the LINK for an acronym that we prefer, or actually I'm a field rep, one of the 8 field reps for the state of California. And we work with the federal and state agencies to get veterans connected to their benefits. Next slide, please. So you can see Calvet has divided the state into 8 regions. Each color is a region with a coordinating link. I'm the Central Valley link. Stanislaus to Kern counties. I cover 8 counties representing about 144,000 veterans. But we also assist current and prior military service members. We work together as a team, the 8 of us, because we all have our specialties. We work in combination with each other, but we also work very hard in our each areas to develop those, as Michael was saying earlier, those additional or auxiliary services that maybe federal and state agencies can't provide. Next slide, please. So what we do is we provide outreach to service members, veterans, and their families. We go to DOD installations. I go to Lemoore Naval Air Station to do presentations for current military service members to make sure they're aware of their benefits before they even separate and can take advantage of them. We also go to community colleges because in many cases, they're recently separated veterans. And then because we've developed this network of system by working with collaboratives, veteran service organizations, nonprofits, we can make referrals and work directly with those established service provider networks. So we can do that soft handoff to a veteran where maybe a federal or state agency can assist them. And then we assist with local emergencies. We've been very proactive, Calvet, in assisting victims of the fires here in California. Last year, I was actually assisting Creek Fire evacuees here in Fresno County, but also I was actually deployed to Porterville with the Tulare County LAC Local Assistance Center to help with the S2F fire evacuees. And in many cases, not only did they just lose their entire properties, they lost important paperwork. And that DD Form 214 is a very important piece of paperwork. So make sure that you have that secured somewhere or that information is uploaded to some document center. So by working with our County Veteran Service Office, we were able to get copies of their DD Form 214 and also working with our home loan agents at Calvet to get certificate of eligibility so they could go forward with a Calvet or VA home loan. And if they had a Calvet home loan, we could assist them actually with their loan or insurance paperwork. Currently, what we are doing as agents, we are taking the calls that go into 1-800-CALVET. So if you call that number, and if I get a call, it can be from San Diego or Klamath Falls, I'm able to assist them because I know the state and federal agencies that can assist them. But if we need to go deeper into their communities, I can contact their link, the subject matter experts in those areas, and we can get those resources they need. And then we provide leadership and advocacy to local communities by staying in touch with our collaboratives, getting in touch with our networks. We can make sure they're aware of the benefits and services. We can also let them know any changes to benefits, updates, but if there's any gaps in benefits, we want to forward that to headquarters. Next slide, please. And so getting connected to your benefits, well, that's what the links we are all about. And I'm the poster child for getting connected to your benefits. I served in the United States Army from 1975 to 1978. And I used my GI Bill, got my degree, got my VA home loan, and I thought, okay, that's pretty much it. But it wasn't until 12 years ago that I found out I was a veteran. And a lot of women particularly don't realize they're veterans. So I filed for compensation, which leads to additional benefits. I also am enrolled in VA healthcare. So these are the agencies that we work with day in and day out to make sure that you're connected to those core benefits that CalVet is all about. Employment and training, well, the Employment Development Department has dedicated staff that assist only veterans. So whether it's with resume information, interview preparation, or just connecting you with employers, that's what they're there for. And actually, that's how I got into state service. I was an EDD vet rep for 8 years. So I know how hard they work and the dedication that they have. They are co-located in the America's Job Centers of California. And these AJCCs, if you go into careeronestop.org, you can find out where they're located. And if there's an EDD vet rep, but also they have the tools that you can use at no cost to you, whether it's computers, scanners, printers, copiers, everything's available to you. And you can file for unemployment, disability insurance, paid family leave, and get connected to your veterans preference points. California state benefits, well, that's what CalVet is all about. And every state has different benefits and different eligibilities. And I like our California state benefits because it's offered to any California resident, regardless of where you came into service from, what state. But it's the County Veteran Service Office. These guys are the boots on the ground. They administer these federal and state benefits, whether it's filing for compensation and pension, DMV paperwork, college tuition fee waiver. They're there to assist you in any of the needs that you might have. Healthcare, we should always be mindful of our healthcare, especially during this time. As I said, I'm enrolled in VA healthcare. If you need to get enrolled in VA healthcare, you can go online, or actually you can just call eligibility and perhaps even get enrolled that day. And I know most of my appointments for the last 2 years have been VA teleconnect. And so it's very easy to stay connected to those benefits. So make sure you take advantage of all of these benefits that you have available to you. And the one thing that I always want to tell people, it may be never too late. I mean, a lot of these benefits never expire, so take advantage of them. Next slide, please. So this is my contact information. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Actually, my phone number, I'm going to put my information in the chat box because I want to make sure you have my cell phone number. I want to say thank you for your service as a service-connected disabled veteran. I know the resources. I feel really good that I can hand you off to the right person who can get you where you need to be. So thank you once again.
All right. Thank you, Annette. All right. So unfortunately, it looks like we have a schedule conflict, an unexpected schedule conflict with Kevin Renner at last minute. So he's not going to be able to be here for this event. I do apologize for that. So I'm going to do the best I can with this information. Annette, I'm not sure if if you have it in you to help me out with this, just in case, you know, there's something that needs to be said. But would you mind stepping in if I need it?
Well, I'm there for you.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about the county veteran service offices and why they are important for veterans. With the county veteran service office, these are going to be the locations and the representatives that you're going to work, locations that have the representatives you're going to work with to get the processes started for your benefits. So whether that's claims and compensation, education and the tuition and fee waiver, or even just getting your education benefits started, you'd want to start here at the Cvso and speak with a county veteran service representative. This kind of just breaks down the hierarchy, or I guess we wouldn't say hierarchy, but the different levels of veteran services for veterans. There's a federal, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. There's Calvet, which is what we are part of. We are the California Department of Veteran Affairs. County is going to be the next level down, the county veteran service offices. And then there's the special service providers like Disabled American Veterans or Swartz Plowshares or American Legion. Just kind of giving you a view of the different levels of services here in California. So with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, it's broken down into 3 different umbrellas: the Veterans Health Administration, the Veterans Benefit Administration, and the National Cemetery Administration. These focus on benefits like health benefits, hospital and clinics, a pharmacy, home loans, national grave sites, burial benefits, and then you have Calvet. So this is our department. You have things like Caltap, which is what I'm a part of, and what you're sitting in one of our webinars right now. We deal with the college fee waiver, our home loans program, CSAVE, which is the approving agency for veteran education, and housing and homeless prevention. So, you know, whatever it is that you're looking for, you'd want to think about, is it a federal benefit or is it a state benefit? If it's a federal benefit, am I going through the Veteran Health Administration, the VBA, or the National Cemetery Administration? All right, so what do? They provide veterans and dependents free benefit information and assistance and counseling. They brought in approximately 540 million new annualized federal benefits for California veterans. Types of assistance. Like I said, you could come here to get your claims and compensation started. If you're looking for information about your records, DD Form 214 requests, you can come here. Discharge upgrades are a big one. You'll get those started also here. College fee waiver, veteran designations. So with the veteran designation, with that DMV program I mentioned earlier, you'll start at a county veteran service office. They will give you the paperwork needed to give to the DMV. They'll also certify your time in service, and then you'll bring that to the DMV, and they can get that designation on your license. They also help out with comprehensive benefit counseling, burial benefits if needed, and then networking and advocacy with the state and local agencies. That's super important. Basically, they hold your hand when it comes to working with, the federal VA or with our department. They're the ones that you'd want to go to, who are going to work with you every step of the way to make sure that those documents and processes are done right. Service-connected disability, I mentioned this a couple times earlier today, so if you're not familiar, a service-connected disability is any condition, injury, or disease that was caused by, aggravated by, or first diagnosed during the military, as long as it's chronic in nature or has residuals. So, if you were in the military and you were serving, and you were in a training exercise and you fell and broke your leg, that could possibly be compensated. Let's say you got out and later on down the line, you start feeling great pain in your leg, the same leg that was broken, you can actually go and look to get that compensated by the military because it was caused by or aggravated by or diagnosed in the military. Compensation connected disability, service-connected disability ranges between 0% and 100% total disabled. 0% is for situations like, you were in the military and you got a really bad cut on your arm. That scar, if compensated by the military, would most likely equal up to a 0% rating, only because it's not something that's going to get worse as you age or go through life, and not something that they have to really adjust compensation levels if needed. That makes sense. Am I saying that right, Annette? Is that okay?
I have a couple of zeros, but if things are aggravated over time, then definitely you can revisit it. And that's the whole thing about getting it on the books. Also, when you talk about service-connected disabilities, it could be MOS related. I have ringing in the ears, which they really don't have a test for that. So when they asked me, what did you do in the military? Were you around loud noises? I said, no, I wore headsets and radio frequencies, and they went static, click, tinnitus. So it can be MOS related as well.
Right. Yeah, and that tinnitus rating actually can get a veteran at least 10% in certain circumstances. And so, something as simple as ringing in your ears, if you worked on a gun range, or like Annette said, had static in your ears because of your headset, those are things that can be compensated by the military because they were caused by or even aggravated by your time in service. What is required for a service-connected disability? So we kind of talked about this earlier, something that's happened during your military time in service, an injury, disease, exposure event, a current condition right now. So if you're experiencing something right now, but was caused because of your time in service, that can also be compensated. And what they're looking for is a nexus link between that military time in service and your current condition. So nexus link means that they're looking to find the point in time that caused your condition right now, and they want to connect those two together. So if it happened during your time in service, that makes your claim more strong to be compensated. So how do they do it? And Annette, maybe you can help me out with this little graphic right here. But the first thing they'll do is they'll want you to gather evidence. So you're going to gather any kind of documentation, either in the military or outside the military, that shows your injury, or that you've been helped because of your injury. Gather all that information. They'll look at your service records to prove that information. And then you'll attend an exam to either have an interview with somebody to talk about that experience, or just to kind of review your symptoms or injury, and then you'll wait for that decision to know whether or not they're going to compensate you for that injury.
Yeah, and you can, if you have your records, that's great. The Cvso can actually request those records. I know when I requested my records, I don't know the situation now. When I requested them 12 years ago, I went through the National Archives, got my military records, personnel files, copies of my DD Form 214, but they can give you the information. And it's amazing, once I went through the documents, I didn't realize how clumsy I was and injured myself. So make sure you get those records. You want the Cvso to review them, but you also need to review them yourself. And that way you can see if there's any current conditions you can relate back to that time in service.
Great, good input. Thanks, Annette. All right, discharge upgrades. This is a big one that the Cvsos work with. This is something that for those individuals who may be separated with something other than honorable, and are looking to get their discharge upgraded to like an honorable discharge or something better than that, or better than the other honorable, they can go through this process. It started at the Cvso. They're going to collect your documents, so military records, medical records, statements, statement of achievements, and they'll use those to decide whether or not they're going to upgrade the discharge. This is a process that, from what I have heard, it's not the easiest process to go through, but it is there and it does work. I do know people, including myself, who've gone through this process successfully. But definitely, you definitely don't want to do this on your own. You don't want to attempt to do it on your own. You definitely want to go through a veteran service representative, and they can help you out with it. For legal advice, Source of Plowshare is a great service for veterans here in California. They work with veterans on legal issues, including discharge upgrades. If you have any questions about that and you're not getting a hold of anybody at your Cvso, we definitely recommend reaching out to Source of Plowshare. So how do you find your closest Cvso? Well, in your resource book on page 137, I believe, you could find a listing of Cvsos here in California. Gives their address and fax and phone number, along with the hours of operation. If you don't want to look at the book, or you don't have time to look through the book, you could always go through our website at calvet.ca.gov. Right there at the top of the screen is a Find Service Provider link. When you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. All you need to do is add in your zip code, the maximum distance to search that you're willing to drive, and then I would just do all results to make it easier. But you'll click search, and it will bring you to a list of Cvsos within a certain radius of what you chose and what your zip code is. On top of the book, on top of the website, you can always give that 1-844 number a call, and this will help you find the closest Cvso over the phone. All right. So information about the Cvsos, or about some of the processes that they work through. You can give Kevin Renner a call, or that's his email address right there. They work with all veterans across California. You don't necessarily have to be a resident there in Kings County. However, it might make it easier if you do find one within your own county. But all veteran service representatives can work with all veterans here in California if you need help. So feel free to give them a call and reach out. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to our questions and answers portion. I do want to apologize one more time for that last section. We did have a last minute cancellation, and so we kind of had to work off the fly. But for any questions regarding your Cvso or any of the benefits that we talked about today, these are our contact information emails that you can reach out to and ask those questions. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on now to Sean. Sean is also a training coordinator who's here with me today, and he's going to help out with the questions and answers portion and read off some of those questions. And Annette and myself will do our best to answer all questions if we can. So go ahead, Sean, when you're ready.
Thank you, Michael. One of the questions was about the Swords to Plowshares program. Someone was asking that aside from the GI Bill, are there any other educational programs that would cover housing during the apprenticeships?
Unfortunately, if you're asking about programs through Calvet or through the federal VA, no. The education benefits, specifically the GI Bill, is the only benefit that offers housing assistance, or BAH, I guess you could say, while you're in school. For other ways to earn income or earn money while you are going to class, I would suggest maybe looking at scholarships and outside grants. Annette, I don't know if you know of any, outside agencies or companies that offer housing or education benefits or housing benefits to veterans?
No, but like VRNE, which was vocational rehab, which is known as, it's more of a employment piece, but it is offer educational benefits with those additional benefits. That might be an option if you have, it's a 10 or 20% or more disability rating. That's a very good option that you could look into. Not only does it give you those benefits, but it's additional benefits on top of your GI Bill.
Right. Yeah. And one thing I want to mention, piggyback off of that, is the VRNE program, or Veterans Readiness and Employment. It used to be VOC Rehab. It's actually an employment program, but for those individuals who are looking or who can't find suitable work that matches with their disability, there is a chance to increase your education benefits to 48 months if your VRNE counselor deems it necessary. So just a little bit more about that VRNE program. They do offer more education benefits, but unfortunately, when it comes to housing, there isn't a benefit that's offered through Calvet or through the VA that offers additional housing benefits or education benefits.
Another question we got was, does your department recommend providing information on a nexus letter?
That would probably be, that information or that kind of question would probably be a Kevin Renner question. He would probably be best, so he would probably be the best one to let you know what exactly should go into a nexus event or a nexus event letter, or what you should be explaining when it comes to that nexus event. So what I would recommend for that person who asked that question, just reach out to him. That's his email address right there, especially because you don't want to get this wrong, this process, especially because it does take a while. And so the more that you get done right, and the easier it's going to be in the long run, and the quicker the process will go. So yeah, definitely. I apologize for not having that answer. But if you either want to reach out to me and I could pass the question on to Kevin, or if you want to reach out to Kevin directly, feel free to do that.
I put his email address directly in the chat box, as well as sending it as an answer for that question. And then another question I got was, what is the meaning of a secondary condition?
Annette, would you happen to know that one?
I do not know.
Yeah. That might be, I'm assuming, and this might be another thing that you'd want to verify with Kevin. I'm assuming it's a condition that has evolved based off of a primary condition. So, if you did break your leg in the service, and let's just say hypothetically now you're walking with a limp and you need crutches, and it's severe, like it's debilitating now, that I would assume would be a secondary condition to the primary condition. But again, I'm not the expert on this one. So if you do want to verify that, I would definitely recommend reaching out to Kevin Renner or sending that question to me, and I could definitely find out for sure, just so we can get that right answer to you.
Another great question we got was about swords to plowshares. They just wanted some more general information on that program, and I'll make sure to put a link in there in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, from what I haven't worked with them directly. They are an organization with lawyers that give free legal help to veterans who need it. They don't ask for payment. They help out veterans when it comes to housing issues. They're big with the discharge upgrades. That's actually one that we actually are told to send veterans to when they have questions about discharge upgrades on top of the Cvsos. But yeah, it's just an organization that's here in Northern California. And so if you are looking for legal advice for veterans here in Northern California, you'd want to reach out to Swords to Plowshare. For those of you that are on the line that are located in Southern California, there's a different agency that you'd want to look at. They're called Veterans Legal Institute, and they offer the same services to veterans, except they're located there in Southern California. So depending on where you're at, you definitely want to reach out to the right one. If you're a Northern California veteran, reaching out to the Southern California Legal Institute, they probably won't be able to help you out at like somebody here in Northern California would. So just throwing that out there. Looks like Sean did put that information in the chat. So if you are looking for legal help, please reach out to them as soon as possible.
So we got a question about Chapter 35 benefits, and the question is there a residency restriction or requirement to receive Chapter 35 benefits in California?
Not that I know of. There's not a residency requirement. I believe the only requirements for the Chapter 35 are the totally permanently disabled or killed during action, if I'm correct. And Annette, please jump in if you know.
Well, I think the only residency rules that would apply would be the college tuition fee waiver. So because that's a state benefit that applies to state colleges, but I don't think the chapters are limited in residency as far as California.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a location requirement. It's just saying totally disabled veteran with 100% rating, or somebody who died while on active duty as a result of service-related conditions. And so I think with the Chapter 35, that's going to be a federal benefit, not a state benefit, which is why there's not going to be a residency requirement. And just to kind of piggyback off of what Annette said, in case anybody's wondering, that residency requirement for the fee waiver is actually a residency, for the most part, a residency requirement for the student, not for the veteran. Depending on what school you're going to, there's certain situations where the veteran can actually be living in a different state and send the student to school here, and they can still use that fee waiver even though their parent doesn't live in the state. It all depends on what school you're trying to go to also. So, I can't tell you exactly which schools do that. You just want to reach out yourself. But the residency requirement for the most part does go towards the student veteran, or I'm sorry, the student versus the veteran.
And one of the final questions we got was about breaking down property tax exemptions for the 100% VA disabled disabilities. What I'd like to do though is I'd like to put the list from the Board of Equalization into the chat, because there are 58 counties and each county's got such specific rules and regulations that you're going to get different answers from each county.
Right.
So I just want to make sure to put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we don't really talk about the property tax exemptions or the tax exemptions in general. Is just because they do differ. The requirements differ across the state. So thanks for putting that list in the chat. Look for your region or your county and call up that individual, and they should be able to answer those specific questions pertaining to where you live.
A friend of mine is a Korean War veteran, and I know in the county of Sacramento, he owns a business, and the county waived his actual business tax license. But every county is different, and every business personal taxes is all it can get confusing sometimes. So go to that list from the Board of Equalization. You're going to get the best answer.
Yeah, cool. All right. So is that the last one?
Yes, Michael. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, it looks like we made it to the end of the webinar, also the end of our time. But if there's any other questions out there, I'll keep it going for a quick second while I go over the next slide. And then we'll close it out. So I just wanted to bring your attention to some webinars or some events that are coming up within the month of February. Like I mentioned earlier, for the month of February, we are going to be focusing on education. So we do have 3 webinars, utilizing education benefits on the 1st, navigating the stressors of distance learning on the 15th, and career transition in the GI Bill on the 22nd. These 3 webinars do focus on the topic of education and benefits and resources available to you. There's also the 2 webinars that are going to be happening on the 2nd and 9th with West Hills again. That one's going to be on employment and the other one will be on entrepreneurship. So for those of you that maybe are on the line right now and are not students at West Hills, just be aware you don't have to be a student to attend those webinars. You can simply just go to our Eventbrite and register there. If not, then we will see you guys all at the next one. I want to thank you all for being here. For those of you that had questions that maybe we couldn't answer out the bat today, I do apologize. Again, please reach out either to me specifically, Sean specifically, or that Caltap inbox or the 1-800 number. Ask your questions, and if we can't answer them on the spot, then we definitely will get you to somebody who can. Thanks for being here again, and we will see you at the next one.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Annette.
Michael, do you think you might have time for one more question about chapter 35?
Yeah, good.
In conjunction with chapter 33?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Can chapter 35 be used in conjunction with chapter 33?
Chapter 33 is education benefits, right? The GI Bill. Let's see.
Was that the VEEP, the 2-to-1?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
post 9/11 GI Bill. Yeah, I think the only stipulation with the chapter 35 is that you couldn't use it, or you would have to elect. Let me just double check that real quick. I want to make sure I'm giving you the right information. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing a stipulation about receiving benefits, concurrent benefits. I think with the chapter, with the survivor benefits, the only thing that you can't do is opt in for Plan A when it comes to the tuition and fee waiver. But other than that, you should be able to. I don't see anything that says you can't take advantage of 35 and post 9/11 GI Bill at the same time.
Let's see. I'm not really seeing. So the person who asked the question said, thank you very much for all the information. You guys are awesome.
Perfect. All right. Sweet. I think that's it. Sean, I think we could go ahead and thank you again, everybody who stick around. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions afterwards. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.